The storm raged through the valley, shaking the trees to their roots. Rain poured in torrents, and the sky roared with deafening thunder. In a small village nestled between two towering mountains, a young man named Rohan sat by his window, watching the chaos unfold. His heart pounded, not from the storm outside, but from the storm within. Rohan had lived in fear all his life. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping beyond his comfort zone. Though he dreamt of becoming a great scholar, he never dared to leave the village. The mere thought of venturing into the unknown filled him with anxiety. One evening, as the storm settled, an old traveler arrived in the village. He was a man of wisdom, known far and wide for his teachings. His name was Sage Vihara. The villagers welcomed him with respect, eager to hear his words, but it was Rohan who needed them the most. "Wise sage," Rohan approached him with hesitation. "I live in the shadow of fear. No matter how hard I try, I cannot escape it. How can I be free?" Sage Vihara studied Rohan for a moment and then smiled. "Meet me at the edge of the dark forest tomorrow at dawn, and I shall reveal the secret to overcoming fear." The villagers gasped. The dark forest was a forbidden place, filled with untold dangers. No one dared to enter its depths. Rohan's stomach twisted, but he knew this was his chance. He could not live in the prison of fear any longer. That night, sleep eluded him. Thoughts of wild beasts and unseen horrors tormented his mind. Yet as dawn broke, he found himself standing at the forest's edge, heart hammering in his chest. Sage Vihara stood waiting. "Come, Rohan. Today, you shall learn what fear truly is." They stepped into the forest. Shadows stretched like ghostly fingers, and eerie sounds echoed from the unknown. Every crack of a twig sent shivers down Rohan's spine. The deeper they went, the more he wanted to turn back. Then Sage Vihara stopped and pointed to a narrow, rocky bridge suspended over a deep ravine. The winds howled through it, making it sway. "Cross it," the sage said. Rohan's throat tightened. The bridge looked fragile, as though it would snap under his weight. Below lay a chasm so deep that he could not see the bottom. I can't," Rohan stammered. "What if I fall?" Sage Vihara's eyes twinkled. "What if you don't?" Rohan clenched his fists. The sage's words lingered in his mind. Taking a deep breath, he placed one foot onto the bridge. It creaked, but it held. He took another step, then another. Fear clung to him, but he moved forward. With every step, his confidence grew. When he finally reached the other side, his chest swelled with triumph. He turned to the sage, breathless. "I did it." Sage Vihara nodded. "You see, fear is like that bridge. It appears fragile, terrifying, ready to break, but it does not. It only holds you back if you let it. The key is to take the first step." Rohan absorbed the words. He had feared this bridge, yet he had crossed it. Perhaps his fears of failure and judgment were just like this, illusions that crumbled when confronted. As they walked deeper into the forest, Sage Vihara led him to a cave. "Inside this cave lies a beast," he said. "The only way forward is to face it." Rohan's stomach twisted. "A beast?" "Yes," the sage replied, "but you must go alone." Rohan's hands trembled. Every instinct screamed for him to run, yet something within him urged him forward. He stepped into the cave, each breath heavy with anticipation. Darkness swallowed him, and for a moment he saw nothing. Then 2 glowing eyes appeared. A deep growl rumbled through the cave, and Rohan froze. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. The beast was near. His worst fears had come to life. Suddenly the growl intensified, and a massive shadow moved within the darkness. The air felt thick, suffocating. Rohan took a step back, But then a thought struck him. What if this was another test? He steadied himself. "I have already crossed the bridge," he whispered. "I will not run." Summoning every ounce of courage, he stepped closer. The beast let out a deafening roar, and Rohan flinched, but he did not flee. He took another step, and another. Then the beast lunged forward. Rohan braced himself. But instead of being attacked, he found himself staring at a chained creature. The beast, huge, menacing, was restrained. It snarled, but it could not reach him. A wave of realization washed over him. Fear was like this beast, loud, intimidating, paralyzing, but powerless if confronted. With newfound strength, Rohan stepped out of the cave. Sage Vihara stood waiting, a knowing smile on his face. "You have faced your fear," the sage said. "What have you learned?" Rohan inhaled deeply. "Fear is not as powerful as I thought. It only controls me if I run from it." Sage Vihara nodded. "Exactly. Fear is a product of the mind. It thrives when you avoid it, but when you face it, it loses its grip." As they made their way back to the village, Rohan felt lighter, stronger. The fear that had caged him for years was now just a whisper. He realized that the greatest barriers in life were not the external challenges, but the fears within. When they reached the village, Rohan stood before the people and spoke with confidence he had never known before. "I have learned that fear is nothing but a shadow. It grows when you flee, but it vanishes when you confront it. If we wish to grow, to succeed, we must take the first step, no matter how terrifying it seems." The villagers listened in awe. The timid boy they once knew had transformed into a man of wisdom and courage. From that day on, Rohan no longer feared the unknown. He ventured beyond the village, pursued his dreams, and became a renowned scholar. His story spread far and wide, inspiring others to face their fears and step into their greatness. As for Sage Vihara, he continued his journey, guiding those who sought wisdom. Before he left, he turned to Rohan with one final lesson. The secret to overcoming fear is simple. Take the first step, and the rest will follow. And so Rohan did. Moral of the story: fear is an illusion that grows in the mind. The only way to overcome it is to confront it. True strength is not the absence of fear, but the courage to face it.